how did YouTube yoga completely change my life? So I do yoga with Adrian, and I talk about this to probably everyone I meet whenever any type of problem that anybody has ever, inevitably I end up saying, have you tried yoga with Adrian? It's really, really good. And it is. She's a wonderful yoga teacher. And these are kind of free online yoga tutorials. And they have kind of everything from, like, you can do a proper workout, but it's for beginners, and it's, I really like them because, they'll have videos like yoga for mood swings, or confidence boost yoga, or like no fear yoga, all these kinds of things. And I really love yoga, and I had practiced a bit before, but doing yoga, I kind of said to myself at the beginning of this year that I was going to do yoga with Adrian every day. And because, some of the videos are like only 10 minutes long, so you can always fit it in. And I just really noticed, I'd always been curious about yoga, and I knew that it had a lot of benefits. And but I just noticed slowly that the small little things that she says in these videos, and this is the thing about yoga, it's not about exercise, it's not about the asana, which is the poses. It's a whole, there's 8 limbs of yoga, and that's just one of them. There's this whole philosophy behind yoga, and the Yoga with Adrian kind of tagline is find what feels good. And I didn't really understand this when I first started doing it, and I was kind of I was just doing it. I was like, this is making me feel better. It's making me feel a bit calmer. I don't feel so bad about like eating so many biscuits. Like, I'll just, this is a good thing for me to do. But slowly, these little mantras about, breathe in love, and, it sounds really cheesy, but like, every single day, these positive words going into my mind about accepting my body, loving my body, respecting my body, just start to have a really profound effect on me. As well as making me, I actually was able to kind of focusing on my breathing, and, realizing that kind of, it's constantly with you, and yet we're unconscious of it most of the time. And it's the thing that keeps us alive, was kind of pretty profound as well. So, I think the main thing for me was this find what feels good idea, because I think for women in particular, and I think for men as well, actually I shouldn't say for women in particular, because we live in a culture that kind of wants us to suffer in a lot of ways in order to succeed. You've got to kind of feel the burn, and, kind of work really, really hard, and kind of push yourself, and actually finding what feels good, and not in a hedonistic way, not in a kind of, I'm going to drink a bottle of wine, or I'm going to eat that cake, or whatever it is, but actually just finding something that feels good in your body is kind of radical in a lot of ways, because it's realizing that everything you need is within yourself already, and you don't need to purchase it from anybody else or get it from somebody else. These ideas just slowly over time have, they have really changed my life. Because I know, when I was younger, I really didn't like myself very much, and I really didn't have any connection to my body at all. And so it was quite a revelation. I'm 30 now, and for most of my 20s, I abused my body in one way or another, by eating too much, drinking too much, just not being connected at all with what was going on. My mind and my body were two separate things. And actually being able to synchronize my breath with the movement of my body brought the two together. And that's been, even the simplest thing of actually my body doesn't really want me to eat something that, we think of as a treat. But actually, when you are really conscious, and when you're eating something that's like actually going to do you harm, you start to think, actually, I don't think I really am enjoying this. So it's kind of subtle but enormous. It didn't happen like overnight. It's this everyday doing something nice for myself thing has really had a massive impact. And that's not to say I'm perfect and I don't eat loads of biscuits anymore, but yeah, liking myself, loving myself. Like, it sounds so cheesy, but it's actually not that easy to do. So that's, yeah, that has been pretty massive, really. So I started to do yoga like not that long ago, a few years ago. I was one of those people, like, I went to the odd class, but I didn't really know what was going on. And, they say words in Sanskrit, and I didn't really know and everyone else seemed to know what they were doing. And I even, like, I did a DVD a few years ago that was supposed to be for beginners. And, there's a pose called downward dog that is a rest pose. No, it's not easy. I mean, it's easy now, but when I first did it, I was like, this cannot be a rest pose. Like, this is painful beyond anything I've experienced, like everything. But that was how messed up my body was. Like, my body couldn't even sit in, they call, when you sit cross-legged, and they call it the easy pose, like, it's not easy. Like, I couldn't do, I kind of do shock myself, actually, with how, I think because things are gradual, you don't realize they're happening, but actually when I look back, it's quite remarkable. And, when you go to that first yoga class, it's really intimidating and it's really scary. And, closing your eyes and actually having to be still for a minute. I mean, if you are somebody who has any kind of mental health, even somebody without a mental health problem, just the general anxiety of life, like, having to sit still and be quiet is torture. Like, your mind just suddenly fills with, the crap that's there, that we're normally distracting ourselves with our phones or whatever. And so that's really challenging. So I think probably a lot of people go to yoga, and like I did, and you go to those first few classes and you're like, this is horrible, I hate this, I don't get it, but I just wanted to persevere. And I'm talking, like, I would do like a class a year or something and be like, no, this isn't for me. And then I went to India, and I was really determined to do, I mean, it's the home of yoga, it's the birthplace of yoga, and I was determined to do some there. And that was pretty revelatory to me, because these were long classes, and they were, you're in this, like, beautiful place, and you're getting taught by an Indian person who, like, it's just all very, like, authentic. And I really started to like it there, because also I could afford to do it there as well. It's expensive in the UK. It's probably the same in the US. And that something clicked then. But when I came back to the UK, I was really worried about not being able to afford classes, and that I would stop practicing. And I by then I knew how good it could make me feel, in my mind and my body. I think that's the really key thing. It's like, I'm sure I'm the same as a lot of people. Like, I exercise for my mind. It's a nice bonus that it makes your body look better. But yeah, and then literally the day I got back from India, I was really sad. And my sister said, I've been doing yoga with Adrian on YouTube, like, let's do it. And we did it together. And I was a bit like, oh, this isn't the same. But I kind of persevered. And that was like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, something like that. And I've been doing it almost every day since then. So, like, she's a wonderful teacher. And I got to meet her when she came to London last month. And it was just, we did my sister bought us tickets to go and do yoga with Adrian in person. It was like 400 people in a hall doing this yoga, and it was just, it's so much more than like a workout. It's really it's really hard to put into words how much it means to me. Like, because I think I sound like so gushing when I'm talking about it. But it does change your life. It really does.
I know exactly what you're talking about. When I first started yoga, I thought, I had a friend that said that she just loved yoga. And I thought, oh, I just want to hit you, And now that I've been doing it for a few years too, I just absolutely love it and what it does. And I can totally relate also about some of the poses, downward dog. you know. I thought, ugh. But now it actually is a resting position. And it's so nice. I miss it when I can't go. Sometimes my work, doesn't let me do that. So I think I will go check out these YouTube videos. I hope they are pretty auditory. I mean, so you don't have to actually be watching them. Yeah, so that'd be great. And I'm blind, and I do yoga just fine. And my teacher that I have at the Y is very open and accepting and very vocal, to let me know if I'm doing things right or something. And I know all the poses now, so it's okay. But even when I didn't know, she was just very great about that. And here, I don't know, maybe about a month ago, I took some blindfolds in, some scarves, like bandanas, and took them in, and we did a blindfold yoga, and they really, really loved it. So I was pretty pleased with that, and so just added kind of a new level of whatever to the yoga. So I'll go check it out. Thanks for posting that.